It's your boy DK Bones with my You Only Live Twice review. Um, this movie was came out in 1967. Um, was the fifth James Bond movie by Eon Productions, starring Sean Connery as James Bond. It's the first of three James Bond films directed by Louis Gilbert. The screenplay You Only Live Twice was written by Rana Dow and loosely based on Ian Fleming's 1964 novel, under the same name. It's the first James Bond film to discard mostly of a film's plot, using only a few characters, locations from the book as a background for an entire new story. In the film, Bond is dispatched in Japan after American and Soviet crews spacecraft vanished mysteriously in orbit, each nation blaming the other. It's the Cold War. Bond travels secretly to remote James Bond Island Japanese James Bond, Japanese island to find the perpetrators, and comes face to face with Ernest Stolwer Blofeld, his first encounter with him, head of Spectre. The film reveals the appearances of Blofeld, who was previously unseen. Um, Spectre is working for a government of an unnamed Asian power implied to be China to provoke war between the superpowers. During the filming in Japan, it was announced that Sean Connery would be leaving the role of Bond, but after once one film's absence, returned in 1971's um, Diamonds Are Forever, and then later he did his Never Say Never Again. Um, You Only Live Twice received positive reviews and grossed over $111 million, equivalent to $1 billion um, from 2024's statistics in the worldwide box office. However, it was the first Bond to see a decline in the box office revenue, primarily owing to the oversaturation of the spy film genre, which you probably could say the same thing that's going on with superhero movies, the oversaturation of it. It's always good to wait to put out the Bond films, and you can see certain movies, and you can see James Bond started doing that later on in its runs. The Bond series, the competing movies were Casino Royale, which was another adaptation of James Bond by Columbia Pictures. And let's get into the plot. Um, as we said, America and Russia were having their spaceships lost in space, and they were thinking that was each other, and it was a plot set up by Spectre to investigate. James Bond had to fake his own death in Hong Kong. He was buried at sea, and then he was sent to Tokyo to investigate the mysterious loss of these spaceships. When attending a sumo tournament, Bond is approached by a female Japanese Secret Service agent, Aki. Um, she leads him to MI6 operator Mr. Henderson, which was killed by an assassin. Bond kills the assassin, puts on his trench coat, and sees the getaway car. He jumps on the back, acting like he got hurt, leading them to the Osa Chemicals, where the guy puts him on the couch, and then they end up fighting. He ends up fighting this big sumo guy, um, which was crazy. He was using chairs and stuff to hit this guy, and wasn't affect him. But he ultimately kills the guy in the office, gets out, um, and then he meets the head of the Japanese Secret Service, Tiger uh, Tanaka. Um, and Bond got documents from the office. They go over the documents and they see images for a shipping, which were coming from a certain island. Bond then returns to the office as a secretary, where he not a secretary, but a businessman. Then he meets the head of the Japanese assassin organization. Um, they know he was in office because when he came back to the office, everything was cleaned up, and I guess they had cameras or whatever in there. When he's leaving the office, they try to kill him, which was a cool scene where they're chasing him down, and the car that was chasing him is later um, picked up by a helicopter using a magnet. They're dropping in the sea. It's corny for nowadays, like, but it was pretty cool for that time. Anyways, they they escape. Bond then had he has a cool helicopter that's delivered by Q branch to scout the area where they think that the spacecraft is coming from. That scene, I mean, for that little helicopter was cool, but going against other helicopters that are bigger, it's kind of unbelievable. But it's James Bond. Anyways, James Bond has to act like he's married to one of the island girls, where they discover where they think the ship is coming from. Um, they talk to some of the natives. They scout out. They find where the hideout is. Bond tells her to go back and tell I'm messing all the names of Tiger where he is. Bond is captured. Then he has one of the gadgets that Q gives him, a cigarette, where he shoots. It has a rocket in it, and it shoots into the control panel, opening the doors for Tiger and his men to come in. Basically, it's a big battle inside a volcano. Blofeld escapes, but before he escapes, he sets off the kill switch or a bomb to explode the whole base. Bond and the ninjas and Tiger, they escaped through a passageway, and that was it. For me, this movie was it was blah. I think it's like a 6.5 or something. Again, with most of these films, the scenery and the photography and the outfits and some of these scenes remind me of Godzilla, but it was a decent movie. I'm not going to go over the cast's name because some of them are Japanese and I don't want to butcher them. But as you can see, it was a decent movie. Some might say they make fun because, especially like this picture right here, this is where Austin Powers gets his the scenes and making fun of James Bond and spy movies. But yeah, beautiful women, beautiful scenery. The sets that they set up in most James Bond films are unbelievable. But yeah, I think half of the reason why Sean Connery was at the end, where he was getting old and he couldn't do some of the stunts, as with most James Bonds, you'll find out near the end of their run, they can't do some of the things that they did in the past. But yeah, I give this movie a 6.5, maybe a 7 at best, but it's decent. So if you like what my review, hit the like button, comment, and then subscribe to my channels. And I will see you guys later. Stay blessed.